Check, check,
Live
check.
mic check for
What, check,
your
check?
ChicagoNow.
Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check,
Behind
check,
the
check,
scenes.
check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Caitlin.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I hear myself.
Which means
You got me, Jenna?
the world. And good morning.
Hello.
Good Friday. Happy Friday to all who celebrate. It is 10:07. It is sunny out. It is sunny out. I'm glad it's sunny out, Caitlin. You have had a whirlwind last 24 hours
Yes,
with this weather.
Busy. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about it because first of all, today we still could have more strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon. So talking about today, in case you're curious, because you want to celebrate Friday, between about 4 p.m. and 10 p.m., we could see some strong to severe thunderstorms. With that, the biggest threats are going to be hail and damaging wind. I also want to mention it's going to be gusty. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts today could be around 40 or 45 miles per hour. So one of the biggest concerns today is actually going to be brush fire risk.
That is so wild.
Wildfires. Wildfires.
Here in the Midwest.
Yeah,
it's
possible.
Not like
it's very dry.
damp out after, so it's still dry.
After that cold front moved through, it really brought in dry air right behind it with those cooler temperatures too. So today we could see if you have a fire outside, fire spread. Now I will say it is going to be a beautiful day. We've got temperatures warming back into the 80s, so it's going to be another toasty one. Yesterday we made a new record.
90. I heard 94 at O'Hare, or was it 92?
93. So
okay,
we're,
split the
in
difference.
Between there. Yeah. So yesterday we were watching those thunderstorms move through, and actually, a couple of those we didn't end up having a tornado warning in Chicagoland, but in Will County and Kankakee County, there was a thunderstorm that moved through that had the label of destructive severe thunderstorm, meaning there was winds at 70 to 80 miles per hour with these storms.
Probably smart for them to delay the start of that show. The Beyonce
That was
concert.
the big story, right? We were watching for updates. Like, okay, they're not starting before 9. We haven't heard anything else. They're willing to wait till midnight. What's going on?
Fans entered about 9:20. Look at the scene right outside Soldier Field yesterday.
Oh, goodness
Oh,
gracious.
bad timing on this. She took the stage, I understand, around 10.
Okay.
And there was a midnight curfew.
Yeah.
So they really had to probably, I'm guessing, collapse the show. Because normally you would think that a full-length Beyonce show would be more than 2 hours.
Is
but
it?
because of the weather delay and the city curfew, they were told at Soldier Field that they had to have everything wrapped up by midnight. So
Can you
kind of bad luck.
imagine? I bet they were
You
so
pay
disappointing.
thousands for a ticket, and
You risk
Mother
it.
Nature, you risk it.
You risk it with everything, right? It's like if you plan a vacation or something and you think, well, what if the weather is terrible and I want to go camping on this weekend? But you got to roll the dice. I'm glad they got the concert in all together. You know, I mean, not all together, but part of it, if they had to curtail
Probably
the end.
an abbreviated version.
Yeah.
For folks who may be tuning in right now, are they going to be in good shape for tomorrow's show?
Tomorrow's going to be great, this whole
Okay.
weekend. Look what this says. This is not what we meant when we said, hail Beyonce.
May her reign be long. The Chicago Reddit never,
so funny.
ever disappoints.
Isn't the internet fantastic?
It never
People are
fails.
so
It always wins.
funny. Yes.
So there's a couple other trending things before we get to a really actually fascinating interview. We're going to be talking to a wildlife expert about Chicago. I don't know if you know, we're on like a major bird migration arterial going north to south. The bird nerds know all this stuff, but apparently almost 1 billion birds will pass through. Can you?
1 billion.
1 billion with a B, almost 1 billion. That's
and that's
wild.
why we have all those stories about, you know, downtown, all these windows and how it's dangerous for the migrating birds because they could slap into the windows. I find this to be very fascinating. But I am kind of a bird nerd.
You are kind of a bird
yes,
nerd.
I'm actually a very big
I
bird
respect
nerd.
that.
Yeah. So if you see people walking, I've seen them along the sides of the buildings with their nets. They're looking for birds. Which, by the way, if you find a hurt or,
Yeah,
you know,
you have to. You don't
gotta-
have to, but you should report it.
report it. You have to. There's no should. You have to.
You have to report
You
it.
have
It's
to.
like an ordinance. Okay.
Caitlin ordinance.
Oh, it's a Caitlin ordinance.
Yes. Call a
That's
wildlife
official.
refuge,
That's
you know?
really official. Another thing that is, so we're going to be speaking with a wildlife expert on what to look out for. Some of the cool species we can all look out for, and also
That's
some of the
awesome.
astounding stats and where to look out for them. The other thing trending this morning, not in a good way at all, once again, the
no.
parking meter deal is back in the news. Back in the news.
Hit it, Jenna.
Permasmile for delinquents like Anthony Ponce who fall asleep in their car
You know
and
what I
then
was
get
thinking about this?
photographed and ticketed while doing so.
You know how we were talking about Elvis yesterday? Do you not look like Elvis in this picture?
I could see that with the sunglasses.
And it's like shaded so you can't really see your facial
I look
hair.
like old Elvis, like old
Up the
middle-aged Elvis.
Elvis. Look at that. How
So
fun.
here's the deal with, and by the way, I paid that fine, and no, it didn't go to the city of Chicago to plug the budget gap. It went straight to a private company, and it's Chicago Parking Meters LLC. They are back in the news. I'll just run folks through the nuts and bolts of this. Very few people, I hope, are unaware of the horrible 75-meter parking lease that was signed by Richard M. Daley, basically selling off the city's parking meters to a private company for the next 75 years. So this is such
Which
a
is
bad
the
deal.
craziest thing
I know.
I've ever
we
heard.
won't even be alive.
75 years?
You
What?
will be.
I
I won't be alive
89
when this
I don't know.
thing is
Mate,
over.
Bizarre. What kind of deal is that?
Awful.
He probably
it
thought
was
it
a
said
temporary
7.5.
solution that turned out to be the private company recouped what they paid. It was about
course,
$1 billion
in a week.
deal in about 2 years, and now they're just
Unbelievable.
making money hand over fist.
That's
They're
so
printing
crazy.
money, and the greed doesn't stop there though. $15.5 million we just agreed to pay this private company because they had filed a complaint that the city of Chicago wasn't enforcing and fining enough, and that they were owed in the neighborhood of $300 million more.
Whoa.
So this is actually even though it's a loss of money for the city, it's actually a win because given what they were asking for, this private company that the city owed them 300 mil, 15 million is peanuts compared to that.
Okay, where is this business, Chicago Parking Meters LLC?
It's a consortium of investors that are...
so they're not like a Chicago...
No, it's not. I mean, I'm sure there are some Chicago investors.
Yeah.
But it's again, insult to injury. So that is trending today as well.
So it says that city officials say the revenue from those disputed spaces has already brought in 10 million more than the cost of this settlement. What does that mean? So they've brought in 10 more than the cost of the settlement?
The revenue from those disputed spaces has already brought in 10 million more than the...
So maybe the spaces that they're disputing, that they want more money from, actually made more over this time being disputed, 10 million more.
That's how lucrative the fine structure is.
Than the cost of what they wanted.
So they're saying that's a win because we don't owe that. It could have been worse. It could have been, the scary thing is that this deal is bad and it could have been even worse to the tune of $285 million.
And do we think that this could resurface again? I mean, if
I do.
If they cry now, they're probably...
This is, by the way, reported by the Sun Times today. And it's just bad all around. It's bad all around. And the only loss, I guess, that we took other than the $15.5 million is that the city has agreed to ramp up enforcement. Yay.
So don't take a nap in your car.
To comply with this private company.
Unbelievable.
It's just absolutely awful. All right, here's another, and there, yeah, exactly. One more time.
Oh,
there's
Ponce.
All right, Lollapalooza
is
coming up at the end of July / the beginning of August, and we have just learned that Lolla is not I always thought this was the grand poobah of all outdoor music festivals. Apparently it's not.
The grand poobah?
I don't know.
What did you just say?
The final boss? What's the...
Puma and Timon? I don't know. All right, let's talk about it. So... Tomorrowland.
I guess.
I love it. Tomorrowland is the most searched festival globally. So Tomorrowland, with 1.69 million monthly searches, Coachella and Chicago's Lollapalooza follow closely behind with 1.44 million and 1.3. So I guess Lolla gets 1.3 million searches respectively. So Tomorrowland, where is that? What is that? Never heard of it. I'm guessing Los Angeles.
Either. This is a European EDM. Do you know what EDM is?
Electronic music festival.
I believe electronic dance music.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is that right? Cool kids in back?
EDM,
electronic dance music.
Tomorrowland.
Okay.
But it's in Europe and they're using the word tomorrow?
Well, English has become kind of the Western civilization's international language. It's called Tomorrowland. I did go down a little bit of a Google. I know you've been busy with the weather,
I see.
Caitlin.
It's in Belgium, you guys.
It's in Belgium. And
look it up.
Takes place over multiple weekends, but 400,000 people go to this thing. It almost sounds like a Burning Man on steroids. It's that big.
Whoa.
They have a different theme every single year where they
Tomorrowland.
It's a different theme every year. So I know they do a similar thing.
I just
want to
see like a picture of it. Okay, the pictures I'm pulling up, if you just search Tomorrowland, which maybe, I don't know, Jenna, you're busy back there, but it's like a sea.
It's a sea of people, but look at the stage. It looks like Aladdin's castle.
And it looks like they've got some fireworks going. Yeah, it looks like Aladdin's castle.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It does.
Way bigger than Coachella and Lollapalooza. Now the least search, this might be worth a Google as well. The least search festival in the whole world is called the Governor's Ball.
I wonder why.
50 monthly searches. I wonder the governor of what
Governor's Ball?
jurisdiction.
Stop, I gotta look this up. Governor's Ball. And this is another music festival, eh?
Glastonbury also came up big, Burning Man in Nevada, and then Brazil's Rock in Rio. I've seen footage of Glastonbury. It does look a lot like Lolla.
Governor's Ball is out of New York, and actually their website looks pretty cool. It's, it's hip, it's bright.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah, okay. This is not what I was expecting when I heard Governor's Ball, but maybe they're new. Let's see their lineup. This is fun.
The global music festival market is expected to hit $24.46 billion by the year 2033.
They're having Hoosier there.
Hoosier.
That's a big
Hozier.
Oh, Hozier.
My lover's got humor.
Hozier. They're going to be there. I like that
I saw
band.
Hozier in at a small venue, the Riv, Riviera up in
Okay.
Uptown. It's an amazing show. He is talented. So he's playing at that, the Governor's?
Yeah, Kid Rock for kids. I don't know what that means, but I'm down for that.
Okay.
Anyways, well, that's fun, you guys. We're thinking about festivals. Yesterday, it was so warm. I feel like everyone's like, all right, we're getting into that summer groove.
Yeah, we are.
And then this
Although it's
weekend's
going to be
in the
cooler next
60s.
week. Yes, we're going right back down. May. I saw someone call it Maycember.
I know. I'm sorry. We should be in the 70s now, but we are going to be in the 60s. Not only this weekend, but that carries us into next week too. So it isn't going to be toasty like it was today and yesterday.
All right, these birds aren't really escaping, I don't know, the cold weather.
Do we have
at
to
least
take a
next
break,
week.
or do we go straight? We're taking a break.
Okay,
I'm
after
excited.
this, we are going to speak with this master wildlife expert about bird migration. Chicago, apparently, we are living in the epicenter of this phenomenon. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Chicago Now. Thanks for joining us. Anthony and I are welcoming you on a Friday morning to chat a little bit now about a bird migration that we have here in Chicago. I'm thrilled that we're talking about this. So, get this. There is an estimated 1 billion birds that have already flown over Chicago and the Midwest since Sunday as part of their spring migration north, and hundreds of millions more are expected each night through Thursday. So this massive movement is part of an annual migration from the tropics that peaks in May, so we're nearing the end of May, when birds travel north in search of food and rest. Experts say the timing lines up with blooming flowers and the arrival of insects, which provides crucial nourishment for the birds. So we are lucky enough to be joined by Bob Dolgan, who is the Director of Communications. Good morning, Bob. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
With
Thanks
Newberry
for having me.
Library. Where are you joining us from right now, Bob? Are you at the library?
Yes, I am. I'm in my office at the Newberry. We're, as you might know, a library on the Gold Coast, and this is where I work and have been putting together an exhibition about birds, actually, that's coming up in June. So, but glad to be talking about spring migration here in the middle of May.
So how many birds total are we expecting to fly through this city, and what are the most surprising or beautiful species that people might not even realize are coming through?
Sure. Yeah, we're talking tens of millions of birds coming through Chicagoland right now. They're coming through in sort of waves as we get warmer weather and the warm fronts coming up from the south. They catch a ride on the
Oh,
winds going to
yeah.
points north, and a few of them that I think about at this time of year. Some of the ones that really stand out are species like indigo buntings, Baltimore orioles. Um, the rose-breasted grosbeak, scarlet tanager. These are birds that spend the summer in northern areas like ours and even farther north, and then spend the winters in Central and South America. And they're right here in our forest preserves and parks. They kind of use our area as a sort of rest area or way station on their way north.
That's so cool. What about our Chicago's geography makes it such a common, I guess, stopping point or rest stop, as you say?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, if you look at Lake Michigan, it acts as a sort of funnel that sends birds along the shores. Birds are flying from the south. They hit this gigantic lake and then need to make a decision where they going to go. And so naturally, to use less energy, it's best to stay right along the shoreline. And we're positioned pretty uniquely to be right in the middle of the United States with a huge lake that sort of guides birds. Plus, we have an amazing forest preserve system and city parks and just all these green spaces that are providing what they need, like the insects and the cover that are needed for safety. So yeah, we're kind of in an ideal spot. It's really amazing to have a city like this right in the middle of a migratory path.
So
We're
I'm
lucky.
curious to know, where are they going? So do they go all the way to Canada? Is that their end spot? And then I've always wondered, which I think you just explained, why do birds leave the South at all? Because I guess we've got the bugs and the nutrients for them here now, whereas maybe if they all stayed south, it's kind of picked
That's a
over.
good question.
So it kind of cycles.
Yeah.
Save some
exactly.
calories.
There's a limit on the number of birds that can be in any one ecosystem at one time. So if they were all in the south, that would not work out well for them. So they head north and go to places like northern Wisconsin, and some do stay here in the Chicagoland area as nesters, of course, but many are headed to like northern Wisconsin, Ontario, northern Michigan, Canada, where there's just right now just an explosion in insect life taking place that is going to be providing for birds, all throughout the summer until they head back. A relatively short summer. I mean, fall migration will start in late August. So. So that's where they're headed. But as many of us know from our backyards, there are plenty of birds sticking around here too.
Yeah.
So we got the best of both worlds.
You mentioned the fall, so I'm wondering, for a bird's cycle, do they have their babies up north, because this is where we have a bunch of food and insects for them, and it's warm in the summer, so they have their babies, and with enough time to get those babies to be fledglings to learn to fly, and then they follow them back south. And then when they're down south, are they having babies there too, or do they wait until they come back north in the summer to have their babies?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's nesting season, breeding season in the summer in the northern hemisphere, and so we're going to see that activity all throughout June, July, into August, and then birds are going to be heading south. And then in winter season, it's time to fuel up and rest and get ready for next spring, and so there isn't usually nesting happening during the winter, maybe in some of the extremely warm areas down south, but for the most part, it's just it's refueling and making sure that birds are ready to come back north.
Really cool. Now, tell us a little bit, Bob, about this exhibit that you have coming up and what we will learn if we visit Newberry.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so the Newberry Library is a historic independent library on the north side, as I mentioned, and we have 1 million volumes in our collection. We have just a massive collection that we've amassed since 1887. I'm not sure that anybody has ever looked through the collection for birds really systematically, and so what we're doing is putting together an exhibition that will highlight birds in the collection, and you'll see artwork and manuscripts. We even have a text taxidermy specimen of a prairie chicken. We have a whole array of items and objects to tell the story of birds and people over the last 500 years or so in North America and Europe. And so we've got some incredible artworks by people like Mark Catesby, who dates to the 17th century, but also people like our contemporary artist Tony Fitzpatrick here, who has a studio in Bucktown. So we really run the gamut and tell the story of birds and how people can protect them and have protected them through centuries.
I love that so much. I actually have 2 bird boxes in my backyard. Last year we got bluebirds in there, and we have a camera that we can watch them have their babies. This is just a personal issue that I've had, and I'm wondering if you have a solution. So last year, unfortunately, we had 3 rounds of baby bluebirds in our box. The third one, the babies got quite big, but then they died. And I think that the reason why they died is because my neighbors have they spray for bugs. They spray in their yard. And it was shortly after that I think the parents were picking these bugs because the bugs were all running away from the house. And I think that's my theory anyways. If we have babies again this year, what would you recommend I do to help? Should I hang some food right there by their house? I know they like mealworms, or anybody who has a situation where they have a bird's nest, but maybe there's poison around, to help them survive.
That is a tough one, because you can't really control where the birds are going to go for food, and they're probably not going to be able to detect whether the food has a pesticide associated with it. But mealworms are a great option for bluebirds. I know it's difficult to talk to neighbors about their practices, but that might be a conversation you could have. But one of the things I was going to add is just it's really important to create great natural habitat for birds, and to leave the leaves even. Don't clean out the yard completely, because that's great for worms and caterpillars and species like that birds are depending on. So but you raise a great point, because pesticides are one of our biggest concerns as birders, and do have a big impact. But it's great that you have bird boxes, because we also do need nesting cavities, and that isn't always easy to come by. You guys,
I gotta say, if you check out Amazon, they've got the whole kit. You can buy the bird box, and it has a little camera, and it has a little solar panel, and they're not crazy expensive either, and you can pop them up on your app on your phone. Right now I've got
we could probably figure out how to live stream it.
I know. I've got sparrows right now making a nest, which is their nests are so messy compared to my sweet bluebirds.
The bluebirds.
That was
poor
another
bluebirds.
thing. I'm sorry, I'm going off the rails here, but the sparrows and the bluebirds this year fought intense. And I watched it happen, because the bluebirds came back, because we had 3 rounds. I mean, the third ones didn't make it, but 2 rounds of successful baby bluebirds that were raised. And then this year, the bluebirds came back, but unfortunately, sparrows had found this box that we have. So the bluebirds and the sparrows physically fighting to the point where there were feathers flying, and I was distraught.
Did you go intervene?
I didn't know what to do.
Because you're on the side of the bluebirds.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I was sending my daughter out to scare the sparrows away, but there's no point, because those sparrows they were determined to take that box from the bluebirds, and they won.
It's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
So that's why we put up a second box.
There you go.
And the bluebirds been peeking in there, but these birds are very territorial.
Okay, let's talk about another concern real quick while we have Bob. We're running out of time, but bird strikes. Okay, as these come through the city, all these glass and steel buildings, how bad is the problem?
Yeah, unfortunately, Chicago, we're a capital of architecture, and we love glass buildings, and that's actually the worst thing for birds that are flying through urban areas. The glass reflects light. People leave their lights on at night, and birds use light to navigate, like a sort of GPS. They use starlight. It was found years ago, and so it's a bad idea to leave your lights on at night, and oftentimes that leads to bird strikes during these big waves of migration that I mentioned. So it is a concern in the city, but there are some steps anybody can take. From putting patterns on glass that are pretty. They're not something that people really perceive very much, but that can stop the birds from flying into the glass, as well as turning off lights at night. But unfortunately, we are one of the hotspots for bird strikes, in part because of our amazing location right on this flyway. But
I always cringe because we get an occasional bird strike at my house. I mean, we have an old house, and occasionally you'll just hear like a
boom,
doink, and you're like, oh no, it just breaks your heart. Bob, hey, real quick before we let you go, when does the exhibit open in Newberry?
Yeah, Winging It is the name of the exhibition. It opens at the Newberry Library on June 20th. It's free and open to all, and it'll run through late September of this year. So
beautiful. All right, Bob Dogan, thank you very much, sir. Good luck with the opening. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Yeah, and if you haven't gone, by the way, to the Newberry Library, this is one of those, it's absolutely gorgeous. They have so many fascinating artifacts there, and it's one of those under the radar.
Is this the one by Lincoln Square Park?
Not Lincoln Square.
Oh.
That's too far north. This is in Gold Coast.
I thought that was in Gold Coast.
Maybe the park is called Lincoln Square Park, but
it's a big historic building where they
filmed
that movie.
Yes, it's like at Dearborn and
yes,
not far from. It's just Dearborn. It's about Elm Division area right there. Yeah, but it's a really great space.
Talking. They do, by the way. When we did live in Chicago, we lived right by that library. They do free tours.
Yeah.
How awesome! Yeah. And the cool thing about it is they've got all these historic documents that you'll see students in there reading and researching. It's one
of those things where if I didn't have kids, that'd be like one of those places where I'd go and just get lost in there, get cozy, maybe drink a little coffee, cozy up, and then it's just really cool dive in. All right. Sure. And that's free. Not all tickets are free this summer. We're going to be speaking, now that we know the Bears schedule, start to finish, coming up right after this break, we are going to be speaking with a ticket agent about some of the good deals to be had, what games are hot, which ones you may be able to get to a little on the cheaper side. So that is when we come back right after this, so stay with us.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. So Bears fans, it may be May, but if you're planning to go to a game this season, you're going to want to hear this. So we are lucky to be joined by Kyle Zorn here from Tick Pick with a look at ticket prices and why some games are already breaking the bank. Good morning, Kyle. Thanks for getting up with us.
Happy Friday, Kyle.
Uh-oh. Oh, there we are. Now we can hear you. Okay, so which games are trending as the most expensive and why?
Yes, the top three games for the Bears this season are the Cowboys, Lions, and Steelers.
Yeah.
In the Packers game as well. Those three of the four very hot tickets this season. Most instances for the Bears games, you're just competing against local fans for tickets. In this instance, you're competing against thousands of other fans as all four of those teams travel extremely well. Their schedule this year just happens to have top four teams that travel extremely well, and they're getting prices for a lot of those games are looking at $250 plus. But right now, there's a lot of early hype for those games, and the next week or so, we expect prices to settle down a little bit as the early hype starts to settle.
Okay, so let's talk about that then. The sweet spot in terms of if you got your sights set on a certain game. We always talk to travel agents about this, you know, like booking your flights,
Sure.
3 months in advance for
yeah.
internet. What do we need to know about the Goldilocks zone for when you should pull the trigger on some tickets?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So right now there's a ton of early hype. They did a great job with the NFL draft this year. Right now the NFL schedule release, fans are super excited. That hype leads to prices being a little bit inflated. So the next few weeks you'll start to see prices across the board start to decrease and reflect true demand. The sweet spot is generally before the season, around a week before. The biggest impact for pricing throughout the season is going to be how the team does out the gate. So if you think that right now the Bears had a great offseason, there's a lot of early good expectations. I think the over or under is around 9 games. And so if they start out the gate hot, those prices will ultimately increase depending on how they do. And then the first few games, prices might drop. But I always encourage fans, we have a price tracker in our app that will alert you when prices start to drop for a certain game. For less marquee games, so they play the Giants and the Browns this year, I would wait about 48 hours before for more marquee matchups, say against the Steelers, Packers, Cowboys. Generally before the season is going to be the best bet. That's when prices will really settle before the season. But as those fans start to travel, those prices might start to increase a little bit as that game gets closer. The volatility will be a little bit less than the less desirable matchups.
If there's somebody who's watching that maybe wants to pinch, they're pinching pennies because everything is expensive these days, and they've got kids maybe that are big Bears fans and they want to go to the game. Can you give us a couple numbers that if we catch a good deal that a family could go to the game with? Like, what are the cheapest tickets that we could get our hands on?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the best deal right now, and then I'll talk about the how to get the best deal on tickets for other games, is the Lions game at the end of the season. That game right now is around $150 getting the door. That game could ultimately be flexed to a primetime game depending on if that game has playoff implications. And so the prices for that game could 2x potentially depending on what happens at the end of the season. But if you are looking to get the best deal possible, we sell tickets all the way up until kickoff. What I always encourage fans to do is 24 hours before the game is probably going to be the best time to buy tickets. As there's less competition 24 hours before. A lot of times fans wait like 2 to 3 hours before kickoff. When you're competing with all those fans for the same exact tickets, that causes prices to pop up a little bit. 24 hours is generally going to be the best bet. And the Bears, they also play a lot of great away games this year. So they're playing the Ravens throughout the, I think, middle of the year. And that has around $100 to get in the door. You could ultimately, if you were to travel to that game, secure tickets for around $70, $60, 48 hours before the game. Other games on the schedule, so the Browns, Giants, Saints, you could look to get tickets around $100, maybe even less if you wait closer to the game.
What would you say to the person who's like, okay, I want to get in on a last-minute deal there in an out-of-town game, but like, how do you sort that out where you're like, okay,
Risky.
We're going to make the drive, we're going to book the flight, but I actually don't physically have the tickets in my Apple iPhone wallet. What would be your message there? Can you count on the fact that there are going to be some tickets available in that last 24-hour window you mentioned?
Yeah, for sure. So we sell tickets, like we've had fans purchase near halftime. We have tickets available. Obviously, the supply for those games is going to decrease drastically as you get closer. But yeah, there's no immediate rush to secure tickets right now. So 48 hours before, they're all electronic transfers. So if you're to secure the ticket 48 hours before, any major marketplace has a guarantee. So once you secure those tickets, you are confirmed to make sure that you have those tickets in hand. But yeah, you can secure tickets all the way up until kickoff if you wanted to. But I always encourage fans, just make sure 24 hours before, secure the tickets, get them in your wallet, and you're good to go. A lot of these stadiums outside have poor reception with all the fans, and so fans do struggle when they're trying to accept the tickets and all that. So I always say 24 hours is your best bet.
Yeah, it's risky when you get close.
Yeah.
If you've got little kids, is it the same price? I haven't taken my kids to a game yet. Is it the same price for everybody, or is it like cheaper if do you have to have the baby on your lap to not have to buy him a ticket?
Yeah, so on the secondary, it's generally the same price for everyone, but
Yeah.
sometimes I know for MLB teams, they might have deals, but for NFL, for the most part, it's the same price across the board.
Oh, okay.
Okay, before we let you go, Kyle, in terms of comparing to last year, it feels like everything we report on here on the news is more expensive this year. Don't get us started on the tariffs or whatever, but how do prices look for the NFL season this season compared to this past season?
Yeah, so across the board of the NFL, prices are up 30% when you're looking at the same sales window from last year to this year. So they're up 30%. The Bears, they were they're number 4 as far as biggest increases year over year across the NFL. Just there's a more positive outlook this year. Caleb Williams there's high expectations for him. And so, yeah, the overall demand with the NFL, they've done a great job this offseason. There's a lot of hype, 30% year over year for the NFL. But for the Bears, there's a lot of hype going in. But if you are looking to buy tickets, I would give it at least a few weeks. No immediate rush right now. These are very high prices. So give it a few weeks and you can start to see the true demand.
Okay, very good. Kyle Zorn, great info with TickPick. Thank you so much for joining us here on a Friday. Have a great weekend, sir.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
All right, absolutely. And go Bears.
Woohoo!
It's another exciting weekend here
Yeah.
in Chicago because something is coming back.
A little tasty.
Yeah, exactly. For food lovers, guess what? The food truck scene is back at Daily Plaza, and we sent a little representative, one of our favorite people of all time.
Little Nat Bomb.
Just got back from checking out the Food Truck Fest at Daily Plaza. We're going to speak with her live about all the offerings this summer when we come back.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. We're talking about Food Truck Fridays with our favorite Natalie Bumpkin. We love Natalie. Okay, so Natalie, you were so busy today. So this is the 10th season of Chicago Food Truck Festival in Daly Plaza. So what did you experience today? What's new? What's happening this year?
Okay, so they've got 40 different food trucks from many different local neighborhoods in Chicago, and you have to follow the Chicago Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. It's like a really long title, but there are social media channels, and they're going to list each week which food trucks are going to be participating. This runs until October 4th.
Okay.
And they're going to be out there on Daly Plaza from 11 to 3.
Every Friday.
Every Friday.
There's not 40 trucks every week.
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
So it's just a sampling, but actually, you guys still have time to get out there today. I have the list from today. Do you want me to read it?
In 10 minutes, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's right. They were getting set up when I was there because I was starving, and so I was hoping to
Can I have a hot dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the sausage, what is it? The sausage people? No, the Sausage Fest truck. It's a Sausage Fest truck. That's what I wanted, but they didn't have that.
Okay, got it.
No, nobody was open just yet, but I'm sure like if people go out there soon, they will be. But so today they've got 5 for $11 empanadas.
Yum.
They've got caseras, which are wraps.
Ooh.
They've got cheesies, grilled cheese, super yum.
Yum.
They've got Hare's Gulf Shrimp.
What? What is it
Shrimp
called?
from the Gulf. Gulf
Oh,
shrimp.
very cool.
Oh, Hares?
Hare's.
That's the name of the...
Must be the last name or
okay.
the family,
All
I'm
right.
Hare's
thinking.
Golf Shrimp.
But I mean, I'm like, this is the first time I think in Chicago
Yeah.
since
Seafood.
I've moved here from Houston.
From the Gulf, not
yeah,
from Lake Michigan.
Right. Are there shrimp in Lake
No.
Michigan?
No.
I don't think
No.
so.
They're those little things. Well, anyways, continue.
Okay. You've got Limoni Belly Pizzeria, Ms. Tittle's Cupcakes.
Oh,
Where's
something
your
for the
dessert?
old sweet tooth.
Yeah. And okay, so here's some
Yeah,
video from I think last year. You also got Reggie's Chicken, Route 66 Burgers, Sausage Fest, Soul and Smoke. I think
There's
they've
Soul
got-
and Smoke. We just
Yeah.
got
There we
a
go.
shot
I
of
think
that
that's
right
like
there.
barbecue and soul food. And then you've got Taka Matora is out there today.
Wow.
And the Fat Shallot.
That's a
Oh,
lot.
the Fat Shallot. They have that up where I am. That's really quality product. You order like a turkey sandwich, but it's made. You can tell it's made with love.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Love.
See, I was thinking it must be like a
seasonings,
garlic
the
thing,
ingredients.
right? The Fat
Yes.
Shallot.
It sounds
Yeah.
like it. So you said you have to go to a certain website, or can people look online? Is there like are these social media?
Yeah, so
accounts?
So the Chicago Office of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection,
Is the Instagram page?
they have their own Instagram account, and so you can go to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter,
Okay.
and you can find out which trucks are going to be there that week.
So it's been around now. This is the 10th year. Did they give you went to the news conference earlier? Did they give you an
Yeah.
idea? So this is obviously they're doing something right. I'm guessing it's grown in those 10
I think
years.
it has grown during the 10 years. This is the first year I think that they're right, that they have the 40 trucks. So that's certainly exciting. And it's a way for the city to give small businesses another boost,
Yeah.
right? Because I think
Yeah.
some of these trucks, are offshoots of local restaurants.
Right.
And so it just gives you the opportunity, hey, if you can't make it to Lincoln Square, if you can't make it down to Pullman,
Yeah.
if you can't make it to Austin, you have them come to you and you can still help the small businesses,
So-
in that community.
I just went on Instagram and searched for Shy Food Truck Fest, and it has all of the information popping up there.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm sure that all of these different food trucks have their own Instagram pages that they're tagging.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they'll be posting like, okay, this is our special for today. And then, well, for example, like the Cajun Con, they've got like the pictures beneath their food truck and what their food truck
Oh
looks
yeah,
like.
and I saw them out there today. They're definitely there.
Mac
Looks
and
like
cheese
they've got
and
grits
shrimp
and
too, shrimp and grits maybe. So that is delicious and super fun. You could go out maybe get some lunch on a Friday,
yeah.
dip out.
Greg, do you remember? Is my memory correct in saying there was a time in Chicago where food trucks were not legal yet?
I think you might be right about that.
Does
They
that
had to
ring a
be-
bell to you?
It does ring a bell. And then for a long time, they did it right on Wacker.
Yeah.
Yes.
They parked the trucks right there on Wacker, on West Wacker.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so now I think they've moved it all to the Daily
I'm
Plaza.
glad
But yeah,
to
no,
see
you're.
it.
I think you're
I
right about
feel
that.
like I've never had a bad lunch or a
At a
bad
food
meal
truck?
from a food truck. And some
They're
of
special.
my food truck experience has been late night, like in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
That's what everyone does. You find a
It's
food
fun.
truck.
It's like a hangout.
It's really cool. Yeah.
So I searched what you just said. So I guess in Chicago, it's generally considered illegal for food trucks to operate within 200 feet of a restaurant's main customer entrance. So
That
maybe
was
it's
it.
in relation to a restaurant. You can't be too
Yes,
close
that
to
was
one.
it. Because I think you're thinking about a time when the restaurants were taking issue with all the popularity
Yes,
of the food trucks.
that's right.
Yeah.
And so there was
Right?
a licensing process that you had to go through, and I mean, I'm sure they're still.
Which makes sense,
of
right?
course, yeah.
And it says they can't park near crosswalk, stop signs,
Yeah.
or protected bike lanes. So I guess this is a specific spot that they carved out just
Can
for this
I tell
reason.
you something else fun that I
What?
witnessed
Yes.
down there?
Sure.
There are couples, you know, that go to the courthouse
Yeah.
and they get married. And
Right
so
there.
right there. And so as I'm waiting, you know, to do the live shot for the 9 o'clock show, I'm seeing like these couple, like the girls in their beautiful
dress?
silk dresses. And there was
No
this one woman
way.
that had this really cute short dress on with a big bow on the back, you know,
Darling.
walking hand in hand with their significant
That's so
other.
great.
Did you run up to them and say, "Can I take your picture for you"?
I
Do you want me to
didn't.
take a picture for you?
This brings
They
back
looked- they
memories
looked
for
busy.
me.
They might be
Yeah.
a little
Maggie
busy.
and I got
Oh.
married at the courthouse on a Friday afternoon, if memory serves.
Oh.
They didn't have the food truck fest.
What?
Nobody knew about it because we did our ceremony as a ceremony, but we had like a friend officiate, so we needed to like make it official, right? So we made it official weeks before we actually got married. Now
No
we
way.
kept it on the DL. We invited my parents and Maggie's aunt. So it was it was 5
yeah.
people. But my funniest memory of it is that you show up, you're waiting in line to get married, and this woman behind a glass,
Divider, whatever,
divider
yeah,
or whatever,
sure.
was like, "Congratulations, that'll be $5."
No way.
Congratulations,
Wait,
that'll
do
be
you kiss each
$5.
other? Is she like you can kiss?
No,
or
no, no.
They
That
don't
was
do
like
any
to
of
get
that?
in, and then once you pay the $5, which
Yeah.
is very ceremonial, you go in front of an actual judge, and it's a little more of a ceremony. And
Oh.
the judge was super friendly, and I think she recognized my dad. And,
Oh, my
you know.
goodness.
Did she say any kind words, or is it just
Yeah,
like, okay, do you
no,
want to
it's
get married?
it took all of 5 or 10 minutes.
Wow.
But
It's
that's
all
a hilarious-
business, Caitlin. It's
It's
all
all business. That'll be
business.
$5. Congrats. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Next.
Next.
It's like that. They
Scoot along.
shuffle them through, but
But
that's a really cool thing.
isn't
You
it-
can hit the food truck fest after
You could
tie
do
the
that,
knot.
and I mean, just a great opportunity to people watch.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause while I was out there, a man from France came up to me, a tourist, and he's like, "Hello," you know, and I'm like, "Well, hello," and so I'm like, "Tell me
What is your name?
Yeah, and he's like, asking about the city, and I was, you know, what are you going to experience? And he's like, well, today's our first day, and
Why were they here?
Just visiting.
Just
But I
to
mean,
see
another
Chicago.
example of, you know, you can see and meet anybody out there on the
Love
streets
it.
of
Okay,
Chicago.
so refresh our memory. How
Okay.
long do these last? It's every Friday
October-
till from now until
October 4th,
October 4th.
from 11 to
October
3.
3rd, maybe?
Oh,
I don't know, October 3rd or October 4th.
Whatever
One of those
that
days.
Friday.
Whatever
is.
that Friday is,
Yes.
yeah.
In the fall,
You got
that's
a
gonna
good
be forever
assignment.
from now.
Did you have
Thank
anything
you.
when you were out there?
No, they
Oh,
were
man.
not ready yet.
Oh,
Because I
it
got out
starts
there at
in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were like, you know, cranking out the
Yeah.
awnings and getting the engine started. Yeah.
We'll have to do a
Getting into place.
Good Day Chicago field trip and just
We
walk
will.
over
Maybe
there
go
on
help
these.
one of them.
Yeah.
I'll do the
I'll be
cupcakes.
sampling
I think you
that.
might have to wear a hairnet. Would that be okay?
That's fine with
Okay.
me. That's
Thank you,
fine
Nat.
with me.
You're
Well,
welcome.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Natalie,
It's my
Great to see
pleasure.
you. And after this, we are going to talk about a little known Chicago secret. This is so cool. I saw some footage of this. They are secret river concerts, and you will not believe
What?
these bands are making
Yeah.
into a venue. We're talking about concerts that are actually happening underneath bridges that go over the Chicago River. We will have that when we come back.
even in kayaks, it says. back. We've got one more minute. We've just been blabbing away, and we have one more topic to talk about, right, Anthony?
This
Anthony's
one is
very
so
excited
cool.
about this.
I'm so excited about this. Can we pop the visual up? These are Secret River concerts. They've been apparently happening since 2022. Caitlin, look at this. Look at where the band sets up. Okay? These are the footage from the Secret River concert series. It's back for another season, and it's right underneath the Belmont Avenue Bridge. So we're talking about the North Branch of the Chicago River. How do they get power out there? There must be some kind of generator, right?
Sure.
And so
but that's loud, right?
I guess the acoustics
Solar
are
panels?
probably pretty good.
I don't know.
The season kicked off May 10th, but there are shows on May 18th and May 26th. What's the date today? Is it the 16th today?
It is the 16th.
Okay,
yeah.
so this weekend there's a show. I guess that would be on Sunday, and then again the following
noon to sunset.
Noon to sunset.
Wait a second.
Get your
That's
kayak. The
concert.
Belmont Bridge. Check out Secret River. This is the brainchild of a local musician named Ben Kinzinger. I've got more questions. We're going to need to dive deeper into this.
We are, and we're out of time.
We're out of time.
Man.
Thank you for joining us this week.